2023. My name is Keith. I am 52 years old and I live in Florida. Um, I do not drink, or that's the plan anyway. I didn't drink yesterday, didn't drink today, and I don't plan on drinking tomorrow. And so I thought I would do a video on it, which I've thought about doing before. I've never done a video on not drinking because I didn't think my stories were interesting. I've never killed anybody. I haven't gotten a divorce. I didn't lose a house. I don't have interesting stories like that. Not a doctor, not an expert on not drinking, and my failures have far outweigh my successes at not drinking. Also, it's a huge topic, and I had no idea where to start. I could ramble on for hours, and it didn't really feel like that. Would be helpful to anybody. But the more I thought about it, right now, for example, the reason I'm doing the video and I'm doing it right now at 4:30 in the morning is because this would be a time I would drink. I want to drink, and doing this, talking about my drinking, helps me not drink. So that's why I'm doing it. If nobody ever watches the video, it still helped me not drink right now. And so, therefore, if there's somebody else out there like me who is going on this journey or starting their journey or just curious or just needs to not drink right now and wants to talk about it, maybe this video will help them. So that's great, because one of the first things I realized when I stopped drinking was how alone you are. It's very isolating. You just end up by yourself. You just feel like you're on an island and you're alone. You're isolated, and everybody else is drinking, and it happens. And it's one of the first things you notice. That and insomnia. I got insomnia, and that lasted for a while. But these are all topics that we can go off on tangents forever. I thought that we would talk just with the big one right off the bat. Am I an alcoholic? And that's a big question. And how do you answer that question? I don't know the answer. So if you're watching this video to get the perfect answer, I don't have it. I do have thoughts on it and the stuff that I have researched and read about it, which is very small. There's a lot out there. But again, the video helps me, and hopefully it'll help somebody else. Me personally, I started my not drinking journey in August of 2016. In August of 2016, I stopped. It was literally August 1st, 2016. And I went a year. It was probably a year and a half. It was January 1st. It was January 1st of 2018. So it would have been a year and a half, year and 6 months, something like that. And I literally relapsed on New Year's Eve. That's just how stereotypical my drinking is. I relapsed. I had this bottle of booze that I kept hidden, like a trophy, or like a serial killer would keep a trophy. And they had this bottle of booze that was stashed somewhere. And on New Year's Eve, I'm thinking, I got this. I can have a drink. New Year's Eve, worked hard. Nobody will know it. And I think we all know how that story ended. I drank the whole bottle and ended up. But I immediately, the next day, brushed myself off, got back on the wagon. So that had been a year and a half. That was in 2018. And then I didn't drink all the way to 2022. About October, November, I relapsed. This time I relapsed for months. I really didn't expect to get sober again. I think it's hard to explain. And again, that's a whole other topic for another time. I'm just letting you know that I relapsed, for 4 or 5 months. It got a little blurry there, kind of how it works. And so I've only been sober for 90 days. Like, I got a red chip at best. And again, I'm not an active AA member. So that's not really how AA works. I'm just bad. I don't go. I don't utilize their resources. So I'm not an expert on that, but I would like to talk about that one as well. But that's a whole other thing. I think right now what we should talk about is, am I an alcoholic? How do you answer that question? And the only thing I can tell is the answer I've come up with for me and how I got there. So it depends on who you ask, of course. If you just Google, am I an alcoholic? You'll get quizzes. You'll get the American Medical Association, AAs in there. There's all kinds of people that have thoughts on it. A lot of them are selling you stuff. But you do see some stuff that rhymes. You see some stuff that repeats over and over again. And me, when a long time ago, when not drinking was not even an option for me, I remember seeing a pamphlet in a doctor's office, and I opened the pamphlet. And in it, I had the list of, it was on the wall where you see the pamphlets, Cancer and Me, You and Your Teeth. This was about, or you probably said, am I an alcoholic on? But, and it had all these questions that it asked you. And one of them was that always stood out to me and just stayed in my mind. I could never forget this one, but it said, if you stop drinking today, would it solve all of your problems? And that just stuck with me. I couldn't ever, would it solve all your problems? Clearly, it wouldn't solve cancer or a death in the family, but it really seemed like a lot of my problems would be gone instantly if I didn't drink. Some of the others is, are you addicted? Which is tough to answer because for me, I could go a week, 2 weeks, I could probably go 3 weeks without drinking. But when I did drink, I was going to catch right back up. So, you go these stints, you go a day without drinking. It's not about the days you don't drink. It's about the days you do. So are you addicted? We're really not good at answering that question because, people are not good distinguishing whether they're addicted or not. We're not very good at that ourselves. By the time we realize it and admit it to ourselves, it is way past that point. Blackouts. Now, that's another topic for another day. Blackout shows up, AA, the American Medical, so you'll see this repeat, and they will ask you a question like, have you blacked out more than 3 times? And the first time I saw that question, I'm thinking, you mean this week or this month? Turns out they mean like ever. Have you ever blacked out? That's a huge red flag, and you see that on repeat. And for me, blacking out is a big issue. You laugh about it, but it's not funny, and it's absolutely terrifying. And I think some of you who see this video know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, blackouts are a whole nother thing. But you will see that repeat. An abnormal desire. You see those words together as well. Abnormal is an interesting question. I mean, if you want to drink yourself to death, is that wrong? If you want to live a short, brief life and have fun doing it, I don't see that as necessarily being wrong. I don't know what the right way to live life is. But if abnormal desire, meaning it is interfering with the things that you want to do, does it interfere with your life? Does it interfere with your kids? Does it interfere with your wife, your husband, your family in general, your friends? I think we all know the effects of alcohol can have on you and the people around you. So for me, that was a big one. So when they say abnormal desire, I don't know what abnormal means exactly. For me, it's more a matter of, does it interfere with what you're trying to be, what you're trying to do? And for me, that was a big one. So the answer for me to, am I an alcoholic? I went into, it was years ago, I'm sure I was forced to go because of a DUI. Went into an AA room and looked at those people. And I remember thinking, I don't have anything in common with these people. And, it's a cult. I don't need this. And so the idea in my head of saying, am I an alcoholic? And I struggled with that. And then years later, again, I find myself voluntarily in what they call these rooms. And they call them these rooms. It's just a term AA uses. Like church basements, and they're stashed in little places all over in these rooms. And I'm looking around listening to these stories. It dawned on me that, of course, I'm an alcoholic. I always have been. And to not be able to admit that to myself was the real epiphany for me, was the day I realized that, of course, I'm an alcoholic. If I wasn't, I'm not exactly sure what you would have to do. So if you look back on your drinking historically and you say to yourself, well, I've never killed a bus full of children, I've never gotten a DUI, I've never lost my house, I don't think that's what we're talking about. I think you might be missing the bigger picture. What we're trying to establish is it interfering with what you want to be? Is it interfere with your relationship with your kids? Is it interfering with your health? How long you want to live, the job that you want to have? Is it interfering with, is it an obstacle in your way? And that's the aholic or holic part of it. It's not Latin. It was developed, or it's a phrase that was coined in the 1800s, I think. But it just means an abundance of, or too much of something. You have an abnormal desire that is interfering with what you want to be when you grow up. And so for me, the answer was yes, I am an alcoholic. And I did this video because I hope it helps somebody. And if it's, I'm probably going to do more videos. I'm just going to wait until I don't want to drink. I think that's the times I should do these videos.